He's handing out permission slips at the rim.
At age 23, Chet Holmgren just won his first NBA championship. He's an incredibly special young basketball phenom, but I don't think the world truly understands just how high this kid's ceiling is. If he can stay healthy, Chet Holmgren might surpass all expectations and become a basketball legend. The term unicorn is used to describe a 7-footer that can block shots on defense and shoot three-pointers, a skill that was historically associated with guards. It could be argued that the first ever unicorn was drafted in the year 1998, but his story was tragic. Some fans might think we're talking about the legendary Dirk Nowitzki, but that's not the case. The Denver Nuggets drafted a 7-footer out of the University of Kansas named Rafe LaFrentz, 3rd overall. Younger fans might not even know who LaFrentz was. Others often remember him as a disappointment that was drafted before Hall of Famers like Vince Carter, Dirk Nowitzki, and his own college teammate, Paul Pierce. Yet during the 2001-02 season, LaFrentz did something no NBA player had ever done before. He averaged 2.7 blocks and 1.3 three-pointers per game during a time when big men were seldomly seen shooting from long distance. LaFrentz's career was decimated by injuries and tough matchups based on playing style of his era. But no player put up a stat line that measured close to him for over a decade until Serge Ibaka did so in 2015. Since then, the league has evolved, and this prototype has become more common but remains incredibly rare. A total of 10 players in history have averaged over 2 blocks and 1 three-pointer in a single season. But Victor Wembanyama and Chet Holmgren might be taking the term unicorn to another level. They have both averaged the 2-block and 1 three-pointer threshold in each of their first 2 seasons in the league.
Was always under control. Curry wiped away by Holmgren on the floater. That's a big time buck. He had to go get it.
Chet was limited to 32 regular season games this past year. And when he was on the court, there are metrics that explain that he had one of the greatest defensive seasons in NBA history. Don't believe me? Chet Holmgren blocked 8.2% of his opponent's shots while he was on the floor. Amongst NBA starters, that block rate measured second to only Wembanyama. And if we compare that metric to the other unicorns we mentioned, all age 22, Chet's block rate only trails Wemby, Ibaka, and Turner. But it gets way crazier.
BC trying to go to work. It's Holmgren and another block to his big total already on the night.
Chet Holmgren held his opponents to a field goal percentage of 52.7% inside 5 feet from the rim. That wasn't just the best score in the league, it was the best score by far. Amongst qualifying big men, Chet finished 4.4 percentage points ahead of Kristaps Porzingis, who came in second place in the category. The gap between Holmgren and Porzingis is the same sized gap between Porzingis and Naz Reid, who finished 16th in the category. It's not surprising that Holmgren was an anchor on the best defensive team in the league this year. In the past decade, there have only been 3 big men that have held their opponents to a lower field goal percentage inside 5 feet than Chet. Giannis and Brook Lopez both did so in 2019-2020, and Tim Duncan in 2016. Elite defensive company, but those guys were all much older than Chet when they put up those stats. If we consider Holmgren's age, it's undeniable that he had one of the best defensive seasons ever for a youngster. Only 5 starting bigs aged 23 or younger have held their opponents to a lower field goal percentage inside 5 feet since 1996, when the NBA started tracking analytics. Tim Duncan is the only one that has done so twice. One can disregard the fact that he played in just 32 games because of injury. There is an argument to be made that Chet's recent season was the most impressive of all of them.
Dort trying to stay attached to Simons. There is Holmgren with the block, just smothered him.
As we know, NBA offenses score more in volume and in efficiency than they did historically. What this chart explains is the league average in field goal percentage in the restricted area. As you can see, there's a strong trend that players have shot a higher field goal percentage on average as years go on. Taking this into consideration, we can compare the seasons of Duncan, Yao, Chandler, Ibaka, and Holmgren and compare their defensive impact versus the league average in that given season. Once adjusted for error, Holmgren's recent season looks even more impressive. We're not trying to say that Chet is a better defender than Duncan or the other legends mentioned. as many other factors need to be considered as well. But there's no denying that Chet is showing generational defensive upside. Often when looking at the best defenders in the world, they are limited on the other side of the ball. But that's far from the case with Chet Holmgren.
Has to find somebody, finds Holmgren, the turnaround shot to tie it, and Chet Holmgren with the three at the buzzer ties it at 117.
Chet is an incredibly unique breed with the fluidity of a guard and the height of a teenage giraffe.
We're watching Chet Holmgren versus, like you said, an elite defender. But one thing he has is that size.
Not only can he knock down from the outside, he has great finish at the rim as well, despite severely lacking strength compared to others in the league at his position. While Chet's career scoring average of 16.1 points per game is impressive, it doesn't spell out how effectively he plays on offense. This chart here once again has all our unicorns listed during their age 22 season. The higher they are on the chart vertically, the better their three-point accuracy was as a 22-year-old. In this metric, Chet scored 4th out of 10 with a very respectable 37.9% shooting average from long range, well above league average regardless of position. However, the further the unicorn is to the right of the chart, the higher their finish rate was at the rim. You might be surprised based on his slender frame, but Chet had the second best finishing rate as a 22-year-old, only to Wemby.
Watch out! That's a man's jam for Holmgren!
While his offensive game lacked volume scoring compared to a few of our other unicorns, Chet Holmgren had the second best effective field goal percentage at age 22 behind Wembanyama, who of course was just 21 in his latest year. The point is, Holmgren is developing into a dominant defender and might already have an underrated offensive game as well. And as long as he stays healthy, he has leaps and bounds to improve. Based on the data, Chet Holmgren might be way better than most casual fans even realize. It's too early to tell, a lot can happen, but Chet has the potential to place his name beside NBA legends if he can keep improving. Thanks for watching. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section, and don't forget to subscribe to Sports Insight.